Hi, Storm. As Majenko said, he's taking a night off, and Ben has got his schedule set as vacation. I thought I'd jump on. These are the parts I bought, which are going to go under the monitors here, so and then be wired into the Extron. So we'll have the two analog inputs coupled with analog audio inputs for those, two HDMI, and then the existing network will be patched in, so I've only got the two sets of modules. I'm not going to do the fitting tonight, but I do want to test that it passes through properly. So we use this one as an example. This is the feed down to the Extron. One short HDMI. What we need is some cables. Yeah, for cheap VDA cables that have never even been opened. In the traditional supply style of they came with a monitor. Hi, Tommy. So, of course, what I need is something to act as a bin. Be back in a second. Pop it in one of those, and its bag can be the bin. You'll get a reputation for potatoes, Swarm. The Swarm goes, I want a reputation for potatoes. I was thinking it more of a, I want a reputation for producing tasty potatoes. So we don't need the HDMI one today. I really need to clean this keyboard. I could just go and get the cleaner one from the other room, but you know, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? Get some lights on. Switch over to that one. Move the pine sill out of the way because not using it. Hi, Jupin. Right, so that wants to go into this one. That's an interesting situation. Right, so that should be looped through. Well, the Extron's got a signal. Blue is can't boot memory. May have to do some more cleaning on this one. This is the one with the 1.2 volt battery. It's going to be a pain today. I'm going to take the easy way out for now and swap to the other machine. Hmm. Ah, that's better. This is why I wanted to test it before I put it in the desk. Lights a little. The other machine might actually be okay. So we know it's good up to here. There's the cable, so that's the cable down to the Extron. That's working okay. See about getting this onto input 2. I'm testing the cables I'm going to use for the Extron. Right, so that cable works to the Extron, but it doesn't work through this. Do I have another video cable? Of course I have another video. Right, so if we take that, plug this one in. Count's already toast. Let's plug that into there. That into there. Ah! So it doesn't like a certain combination of cables. What if I plug it back into here? Go back to input 1. So we've got no signal there. But we do have a signal there. Okay. Well, that gives us one output anyway. Let's see if we get some sound. Should be on that one. What do I have that's soundy? That will give an error. Good. That won't be working because that's on input 1. That's This is why I want something with continuous sound. Good. I think I'll grab put the 5000 back up because we know it will produce sound, and we'll see what it produces on these cables. So. I need to do something about the feet on this keyboard. They are icky and get everywhere with the sort of slimy, disintegrating feet pads. This is on input 2. Something to this exact combination of cables. So let's see if we get some sound. Aha! We have sound. So the sound feed through works. Let's see if it works. So the two audio inputs work, but the video's a bit flaky. Let's try the other one. So we've got video on that one. But again, not on this one. Now for the fun bit. I need to get this connector up through the desk. More to the point, I need to get this through the desk without doing a leg. Right, so this lead is a bit suspect. There we go. This lead works directly to the Extron, but it doesn't work passing through the intermediate cable. And I have no idea why. But this one seems to work on both. So I'll take that one out. Put the original one back in. And yep, we've got power, we've got video on both. So I might have to grind out the face plates a little to give a little bit more room around them. Should have brought the iFixit kit through so I could use the nut driver on it. Something else for some sound. Okay, so we get video through that one on the port. That's good. So maybe I don't have to cut the plastic out, which would be good, because it will look terrible if I do it. Pass this through too.
The sound ceased. The sound ceased.
Grab a drink. So yeah, but the plan is to have it all cabled up. So instead of rubbing behind the Extron every time you want to do anything, all the inputs will be up on the desk dado trunking, and you just plug stuff in as you need it. Pure Majenko will object to that level of planning. Yeah, you don't plan these things in advance to stream. Oh no, not what I'm doing, Majenko. Planning ahead. You know, you're not meant to plan ahead for a stream. You're meant to jump in, see what goes wrong, and swear at stuff. But yeah, I'm going to have to drill some more holes in the desk to take the cables through, because I'm going to have to take the D15 through there. He plants goats. The arm on my chair has come loose and it's winding me up. Hold on a second. Because who doesn't have a set of hex drivers by the chair for when the arm goes wobbly? So those are tested. We don't trust that lead. I have others that I need to test, but do I have? I don't think I do. So let's just check. I also have a pair of short HDMI leads to come up and into the back of the others. As this is now working, and we know it was the cable. Let's grab the third RiscPC and retest that. Let's see if it was a false trigger on a failure. I really should mark these. I'm more likely to plan ahead for work. Stuff at home, like suddenly deciding to tidy the room, a bit more spontaneous. So it was the cable that was causing it, not the machine. So one of these two is not reading. I'm going to take a guess at that one. And I would be wrong. That was happy. 18 meg. Still got 18 meg. $22 meg seems a little strange. Hi, Matt. You think this is a thing for Shelby? I wonder if these are IBM compatible. Strangely enough, you can't soft load RiscOS with only 6 meg memory, including a VRAM. So you should have 16 there. Wow. This is a genuine Micron 72-pin SIM. Doesn't have the pads for IBM weirdness, but this one does. Miss the slot. So this should give us 20 meg plus 2 meg VRAM. There we go. So might be able to clean that up. There we go. I need to remember I've got a copy of that on here. So this one's 4 years out of date. Should be able to get a new one. Wrong one. Haven't got anything in that drive. Right, let's try something. I've got an iCube there. Also an iCube. That might have the modules. So should be the same chip though. That one's running that machine, that's running the Extron. I'll temporarily take my printers offline. So I've got 16 gig thing that is playing up. Um, the 7,000 thereabout, along with 7,000 pluses, but they suffer the same problem of the batteries eat the motherboard, so they come up rarely. Oh, oh, it saw it. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Don't tell Majenko, but I just plugged a network card into this and it just worked. I've never actually used networking on this level of RiscOS, and I wasn't quite expecting that. I guess I'm going to have to find some network apps. No, Daft Uncle, I have a better plan. There is a file sharing system on RiscOS called PlingShareFS. It's been ported to Linux, so it should be possible to set up a machine that can share the NAS drives via ShareFS to the RiscPCs, the A5000, because I have the full size card for the 5000. Again, both interfaces, which would make getting stuff onto it so much quicker. I wouldn't try and set up NetWare because, well, bluntly, I've watched Majenko Shanity over the last few weeks, and well, I haven't got enough of my own. I don't need to attack it like that. Oh. check for a new version of that then. That's working. Now it actually talks to us. One of the things I do know is that, if I remember correctly, the RiscOS NetWare library is equivalent to the DOS tools. So if you get to a version of NetWare Server that you can't use with the DOS tools, you can't use it with RiscOS either. I mostly know this through looking it up the other day and coming across some forum posts from about 20 years ago that literally was, I can't sign in on RiscOS. Find the iCube drivers and is this disk working? Still, one day I'm going to find the ABC module that is missing, and I'm going to get that thing working. Right. Just for fun, let's try the HXC on here. It should run in the same configuration as for 5000. So the answer to that is no, it hates it. Gonna have to work out the the settings for this to use it with the RiscPCs, which is annoying. It would have been really useful if it'd been the same settings as the 5000. I could just got another slice and stuck it on the top. Just looked at the laptop and went, "Oh, it's got a black screen. You can't see it," and realised it's booting. It's a black screen. Yeah, so it sees the real floppy drive. What mode are we running in at the moment? Ah, that'll be why. No, we don't want that. Oh, the Extron did that proud. So we've got a suspect memory. Let's at least they're different types, which does make it easier to tell which memory is the 4 meg, because it can be done with parity. So there's an empty slot on the SIM. So Try that. There we go. So dirty contacts on the sim. The companies years in the past kindly don't use tin or solder pads. What was wrong with putting a nice nice gold plated connector on the sim? Would help if I bring my keyboard in. Suppose. All ADFs. Oh, Unicode files alias is not fine. Ah, should be there. Oh, we might have something. how much it was taking up. So about 8 meg. I don't know if there's an actual internal ping system. No, that's why I'm trying FrogFind and Poseidon, because Friday really doesn't care. because something's trying to use it. It's got all the right details. It's annoying that it won't let me set it to DHC. That would have explained a few things. Yes, I'm going to have to test a load more video cables with the pass-through for the Extron. But apart from that, it does seem to be happy. The pins in. I still need to work out a fix for the front panel on this. Come on. The problem with the Acorn mouse is due to being an 8 or 9 pin connector. How many is it? An 8-pin connector. It can really hold on to the motherboard socket. The thing is, it's not actually on the network, so it doesn't really matter what else I have. Right, so we know that cable's good for feeding from the desk. We know that cable's good for going through the desk. We know all the audio sockets work. So now I just have to plan in the removal of the single socket, recutting the face plates, fitting 2 double back boxes, and then fitting all the cabling, which will involve drilling some rather large holes through the desk. I also need to check, there it is, because that's the one that's got the screws for the face plates in them, and they're not quite a standard size, so if I lose those it'll be a pain. But the plan will be that I'll have 4 inputs on the Extron, the 2 analog with sound and 2 HDMI, and then 2 HDMI ports free if I ever need them. So, but that has actually worked. So we found the fault. It wasn't the machine, which is a good start. And I can do the nasty loud cutting holes in desks. I would now like to swear at browsers that decide to scale the screen when you're trying to scroll the mouse. So thank you everyone for coming to this stream. The test sort of worked. We now know that I've got a working 4 meg sim for the RiscPCs in the backup. And next time is probably going to be looking at the 3010 of a 3020. The question is, do I work on the 3010 and try and find the fault now we've got a unit that can handle the video output in a failure state, or do I put a battery in the 3020 and try and get that working? Now the next plan is definitely food. So I had a cheeseburger for lunch from from the butcher's, and that has pretty much worn off. I'm pondering cooking breakfast. I also need to figure out how to stop the orange marks on this camera. When you put it into standby mode, it does an iris close over the lens. When it opens, the edges of that have red borders, and they're catching the light, reflecting back into the cover, and then being picked up by the camera. That's what the weird red swoosh at 4 quadrants is. So well, take care everyone, and thank you very much for coming. Why hasn't that taken the command?